are going to be on the right-hand side. Um, Thank you. So tomorrow is going to be the last day of Ramadan, inshallah, our last night of our program. Inshallah, we're going to do things a little differently. So tomorrow we're going to have, as usual, dua iftitah, 9:30, inshallah, or off on 9:40. And then we're going to have a lecture with our respected Sheikh Muhammad Ayad at 10 o'clock. And then the lecture is going to go on for about 30 minutes. And he will then transition over to, at 10:30, to a dua. It's in Sahif al-Sajadiyya. It is dua number 45. Farewell to the month of Ramadan in English. In Arabic, it's du'ahu lawadda, I believe it's called. It's supplication 45 in Sahif al-Sajadiyya, inshallah. And it's going to be at 10:30 with Sheikh Muhammad Ayad is going to be the reciter. So please, inshallah, last night of Ramadan, please tell your friends about it. Inshallah, we're going to make an announcement on our UNI announcement WhatsApp group. When it's we have a flyer and everything's official. But inshallah, please, if you can make it, we would love to have you here. Quick reminder, on Wednesday, inshallah, it's going to be the day of Eid for, I think, all the Maraja, barring any irregularities. We're going to have Eid prayer at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And for each of those prayers afterwards, there's going to be candy bags for the kids. So please, inshallah, if you can make it, I know people have work, but if you can take off, or if you don't have work, please come and salli here or in any other masjid. Just make sure you get the barakah of the salat, inshallah. Some recurring reminders, our bookstore is going to be open till 11:30 p.m. today, from now until 11:30. So if you guys would like any gifts for Eid's coming up, on Wednesday, if you have any gifts you would like to give to people, please visit the bookstore for any ideas. And our front desk, we have some really nice stuff. Specifically, we have our Ramadan calendar. Inshallah, it's a good gift for Eid, inshallah, for next Ramadan. So please, if you guys are interested, please see the desk over there or the bookstore, inshallah. And that's all the announcements I have. We're going to take a little break, a 5-minute break, and then we're going to pick up, inshallah, at around 10:15. Inshallah, when the Sheikh gets here, we'll start our program. So please grab some water, get some food, some sweets on the table over there. Please help yourself. Inshallah, pick back up at around 10:15. Thank you. صل على محمد وآل محمد. We're going to begin the program, inshallah, with recitation of the Holy Quran with Brother Ibrahim Ajami. So if you could please welcome him to the stage with one loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. ثانية على حب الزهراء، صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نون والقلم وما يسطرون. ما أنت بنعمة ربك بمجنون. وإن لك لأجرا غير ممنون وإنك لعلى خلق عظيم. فستبصر ويبصرون بأيكم المفتون. إن ربك هو أعلم بمن ضل عن سبيله وهو أعلم بالمهتدين. فلا تطع المكذبين ودوا لو تدهن فيدهنون ولا تطع كل حلاف مهين. مناع للخير معتد أثيم عتل بعد ذلك زنيم. أن كان ذا مال وبنين إذا تتلى عليه آياتنا قال أساطير الأولين. سنسمه على الخرطوم إنا بلوناهم كما بلونا أصحاب الجنة إذ أقسموا ليصرمنها مصبحين ولا يستثنون. فطاف عليها طائف من ربك وهم نائمون فأصبحت كالصريم فتنادوا مصبحين أن اغدوا على حرثكم إن كنتم صارمين فانطلقوا وهم يتخافتون ألا يدخلنها اليوم عليكم مسكين وغدوا على حرد قادرين فلما رأوها قالوا إنا لضالون بل نحن محرومون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد
Ahsan, Brother Abe, thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. Without further ado, I'd like to invite our respected scholar, Sheikh Muhammad Ayad, to the stage with 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد اللهم صل Inshallah, everyone is able to keep up. Still have just tomorrow, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you all the necessary patience needed, inshallah, to complete and to perfect this month, the month of Ramadan, the month of mercy and forgiveness. أعوذ بالله من شر الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد. In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, the one who has created and designed everything, the utmost perfection, the wise creator who created everything for a reason and a purpose, and he gave us the gift of eloquence. Ar-Rahman خلق الإنسان علم القرآن, also علمه البيان, taught the human eloquence and speech and communication skills. And may the peace and blessings of the Almighty God be upon His beloved and pure messenger, the peak of His creation and the symbol of humanity, the Holy Prophet Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. And for His immaculate progeny of the Al-Bayt, especially the leader of our time, the awaited Savior, Imam al-Mahdi, may Allah hasten His reappearance and make us all among His dedicated and sincere servants. Now if I ask you a question, what do you think the organ that will be responsible on taking majority of humankind to the hellfire? The what? The heart, which is a nice answer, but it's not the true answer. What do you think the organ that will be responsible on majority of people going to the hellfire? The tongue. Why the tongue? Subhanallah, Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam was asked this question, and he gave the same answer, which is the tongue. And we have a narration from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, which is interesting to hear, He said that the tongue, every single morning, he begs all the other organs in the body, do not be responsible. They beg him, do not be the reason why we'll be punished in the hellfire because of you. So that's why, subhanAllah, one of the main organs that require a lot of discipline is the tongue, that organ. Now another question. What is the reason behind in Islam that we differentiate between a major or a minor sin? So before we jump speaking about cussing and cursing, which sounds so elementary, but it's so dangerous and so serious. So my question is, what do you think the reason in Islam, the main reason, why we differentiate, distinguish between a major sin and a minor sin? We call them intro questions, these. What do you think, guys, brothers, sisters? What do you think? The main core reason why in Islam we put certain practices in a category called major sins and another practices or indecent activities, and we put them in a category, we call it minor sins. So to make it easier on you, it's the effect of that sin. The more the sin has a side effects and it harms more, the more that sin will become what? Major. The more the sin has just effect on you, not us, that sin might be minor. So the more the sin affect the society, the more the sin is big and major. Now my question is, when it comes to the tongue, usually the harm of the tongue mainly on who? On you or on us? It affects you or the society? The society usually. That's why whoever reflects on the events of social problems and the disruptive crisis to the harmony of society knows that their origins must lie in the beginning of speech. And the exchange of arguments that lead to social tension and the incitement of grudges and hatred among members of the community. Therefore, safeguarding the tongue from such rodents and extravagant and accustoming to the good words and noble polite speech is a firm necessity imposed by the etiquette of speech required by the interest of both the individual and society. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has a nice 2 or 3 words in the sermon welcoming the month of Ramadan. He said, وَاحْفَظُوا أَلْسِنَتَكُمْ, and safeguard, protect your tongues during this month. That's why we have one of the articles, religious Islamic articles, it's the fasting of the tongue in the month of Ramadan. We have scholars, mystics, were asked, how did you reach that lofty spiritual stage in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How you were able to expand your spiritual ability, expand it, and to take yourself spiritually to the next level and to become very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, silence was the key. So now, I'm not expecting me and you to do that, but he used to put a small pebble under his tongue to make sure that he's silent all the time. And he will talk when it's necessary for him to talk. That's why the Quran Kareem warned from vain talk and people wasting your time with useless speech and useless conversations. Adam alayhi salam, our first, the forefather of the human beings and mankind, when he landed on earth, Jibreel came to him. The first question that Adam asked Jibreel, what is the fastest way for me to go back to paradise? Since Adam, he enjoyed the characteristics and that high lifestyle when it comes to, that affects you at the physical level in that paradise. So when he landed, he got harmed. He asked Jibreel, what is the fastest way to me to enjoy paradise back? He told him, silence. So the less you talk, the faster you reach paradise. Because yes, based on God's justice and God's fairness and His just system on Judgment Day, if you will ask me for every word, definitely the more we talk, the more our judgment will become longer, right? So this is a natural equation between talking and judgment. Now, subhanAllah, that's why Allah, when He described His prophets and messengers, He called them as words, kalima. Words are so strong, as we mentioned in previous nights. So, when it comes to some sins that can be committed by the tongue, before I talk about cursing and cussing and swearing and so on, we have backbiting. And just to remind myself and you about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described backbiting in the Quran al-Kareem, eating the flesh of your dead brother. And He said, you will hate it. Second, slander. Third, false testimony. Fourth, lying. And lying is the key for all sins. Also to remind you, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they asked him, can a mu'min, can a believer be a miser? He said he might be a miser. Can a mu'min, for example, cheat? He said he might. Can a mu'min do this? Can a mu'min do that? He said yes. When he was asked, can a mu'min lie? He said no. Even Satan himself, he don't lie. He was honest when he spoke to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about his mission and vision toward us. That he said, I will distract them all, corrupt them all, except the sincere ones. Also, Satan was honest in the Quran. Fifth, gossiping, cursing, just to remind you of some sins and how much we can do with this organ. Before I forget this, there is a narration from Imam Ja'far Sadiq, it's very interesting. He said that on Judgment Day they might bring for you a cup of blood, for you to drink that blood. You will tell the angels, I didn't kill anyone, I didn't harm anyone. Why you're torturing me by this? He said, yes, you didn't directly kill someone, but you said a word, and that word transformed to a different word, and then people started like talking more about it until it led after a couple months or years for someone to be killed. Everyone will be responsible on the death of someone just because of a what? A word. A war will start with a what? A word. Mischief, fitna, the battle of Jamal, that 22,000 Muslim was killed in it, started with a what? With a word. That's how powerful words are. Now, to stop the genocide in Palestine, it requires a what? A word. And to cause more genocide also, it also can be done by a word. Now, obscenity, mockery, insults, threats, hate speech, blasphemy, spreading rumors, harassment, encouraging sin, flattery, manipulative speech, racial slurs, sexual language, homophobic or transphobic comments, victim blaming, revenge speech, mocking religious beliefs, incitement to suicide or self-harm, neglecting responsibilities, spread fear or panic, using hate speech. They are all done by what? By one organ called what? The tongue. Also, sometimes I might think that I'm able to guide someone, and with using the wrong speech, wrong words, I might corrupt them more. And trust me, I might make people hate faith and hate religion and hate to be religious and hate God because of a word. Imam Ali, or in the Quran also, it wasn't mentioned that do not curse their gods. Otherwise, they might what? Curse your God in an oppressive way, right? So do not try to annoy anyone, so they might bring some hatred toward your faith and religion. Now, in the verse of the Quran Kareem, please listen to this verse. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَقُلْ لِعِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. يَقُولُ قُلْ, say. يَقُولُ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. And say to my servants that they should only say those words that are best. Prophet Muhammad, you know how Imam Ali said the best speech are the shortest and to the point? Those are the best form of speeches. Prophet Muhammad said, say good thing or remain silent. Say good thing or remain silent. So the Prophet was disciplining us, teaching us, raising us, guiding us to always be that verbal positive energy in the society. Because trust me, you're able to make someone depressed with some negative news that you're spreading through your what? Your tongue. Now Allah is saying this verse, and say to my servants, ibadi, that they should only say those words that are best. Satan indeed sows dissensions among them. So Satan will try to use our tongue to create hatred and mischief and problems within the society, so we can't move socially to perfection. Now, do you remember previous nights when it said that the main complaint of the angels of creating Adam was the social what? Corruption. And the tongue is a tool that is used to ruin the life of the human being socially. So that's why Islam put a lot of emphasis and a lot of verses and narrations from Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, guidelines, instructions to discipline the tongue. Now Allah said in the Quran Al-Karim 3 words, وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا. 3 words. And speak good to people. Also Allah said, وَلَا يَسْتَوِي لَا تَسْتَوِي الْحَسَنَةِ وَلَا السَّيِّئَةِ. Definitely, the good deeds and bad deeds are not equal. ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم. Allah is saying the good deed and the evil deed are not equal. Repel evil with what is better. How you repel evil? With what? With what you repel evil? With your tongue. Then you will see that one who has once was your enemy has become your dearest friend. With the power of what? Of speech, talking. Definitely cussing and foul language will not help. Another verse, وَاقْصُدْ فِي مَشْيِكَ وَاغْضُضْ مِنْ صَوْتِكَ. This is interesting because unfortunately in our houses sometimes you use that terminology, right? Hamir, wahmar, etc. So Allah is mentioning one of the descriptions in the Quran Kareem, إِنَّ أَنْكَرَ الْأَصْوَاتِ لَصَوْتُ الْحَمِيرِ. So it's saying, and be moderate in your pace and lower your voice. For the harshest of sounds, without a doubt, is the braying of donkeys. Another verse, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullah wa qulu qawlan sadida yuslih lakum a'malakum wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum. Allah said, O you have believed, fear Allah, be pious, be righteous, and speak words in appropriate justice. Also what? Disciplining this tongue. He will then amend for you your deeds and forgive your sins. So subhanAllah, this tongue, you can invest these words in a lot of good things in this world. SubhanAllah, this tongue can be a sword for Allah, and this tongue can be a sword for Satan. That's why you have to be careful and cautious. Imam Ali has a very interesting hadith also. He said, "Man kathura kalamhu kathura khata." The more you talk, the more you make mistakes. Wallahi, majority of divorce cases start with negative what? Words. You can disrespect, dishonor, ruin someone's feelings, right? Corrupt someone's life with your words. That's why a man asked Imam Ali for advice, and he said, so imagine now Imam Ali standing in front of us and we're asking him, advise us, O Ali. He will say, guard your tongue and do not allow people to lead you, lest you degrade yourself. Another man came to the Holy Prophet and asked him for advice. He replied, now the Prophet, guard your tongue. The man repeated his request 3 times, and each time the Prophet saying what? Guard your what? Your tongue. Until finally he added, guard your tongue and beware. Will people be thrown in hell on their faces except of what their tongue reap? Ya Abul Hasan. Again, Imam Zain al-Abidin, who is the organ that is responsible on making majority of a human being go to the hellfire, is the what? The tongue. How many children coming complaining about their parents fighting at home because of their conversations? Screaming, yelling, wrong speech, wrong words. How many love stories ended because of what? Cussing words or wrong words or lack of communication, or you don't know how to communicate and talk. Now Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to Abbad ibn Kathir al-Basri, the Sufi, verily Allah Almighty say in His book, "O you have believed, fear Allah and speak words of appropriate justice. He will then amend you for your deeds. Allah will not accept anything from you until you speak a just what? Word." Now also, Ali ibn al-Husayn. Who's Ali ibn al-Husayn? Which Imam? Ali ibn Husayn what? What is the title of Ali ibn al-Husayn? I'm asking you a question so I can keep you focused. Ali ibn al-Husayn who? Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. He said, God, good speeches enriches wealth, increases sustenance, prolongs life, endears one to family, and admits one into paradise. Just what? Good speech. Sometimes by containing the negative pressure from your boss with good words, you can gain their hearts. You can keep your job and work. Make sense? How it increases your wealth? And subhanAllah, all people that they are strong in sales market, they say they have good communicating what? Skills. They are able to what? Convince you with their words. Imam Sadiq has a very nice line in poem, poetry. I like to mention that. He said, عود لسانك قول الخير تحظ به إن اللسان لما عودت معتاد. He said, accustom your tongue to speak good words, you will find fortune therein. For the tongue will accustomed become habitual. I had a friend in the Hawza, and I'm not shy to mention that or embarrassed. A friend, a dear friend, that he passed away because of a disease, Allah yarhamu. But he was one of my best friends in studying Islamic seminary. And we were taking ethics class together. And he told me as a personal story about himself, how he was a teenager that he used to cuss and say a lot of bad language, in Arabic language, not English. By the way, in Lebanon, when we hear someone cussing in English, if you're born raised there, you will laugh. Like you will not take it seriously. It's not that serious when you hear it in a different language. So he used to cuss a lot in Arabic language. And then he had counseling with a scholar, a very deep scholar in ethics. And he gave him a practical medicine. He told him, now if I told you a speech about to stop cussing, it might be hard for you to be convinced. But I believe that majority of your cussing words now, it's coming because it became a habit. Like you're not thinking about it anymore. Unfortunately, I had one of our bad neighbors that between a cussing word and a cussing word, there's a cussing word. To that extent, his tongue is used to say these words. So majority of our youth, I believe, that they don't think about these words. It comes what? Naturally. They don't even sometimes mean it. Because their tongue is used to say these words. That's why the best practical advice for them is for them to make their tongue get used to a different habits. For example, when you get angry, you're not thinking anymore about F word or different words. You're thinking about screaming, for example, astaghfirullah, right? Some people do that. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Ya Allah, why? For example. But it's better than saying a bad word. So when that tongue is used on different language, also you will react because it became a habit. So subhanAllah, he started doing tasbih a lot. So he had this counter in his finger. He started doing tasbih a lot until it worked. It worked. So people practice that and subhanAllah, it worked with them. So I'm giving you now a practical advice that it's actually people tried it and it worked. So if you know anyone who's cussing and he wants to stop cussing, tell them the same exact thing. For example, when we were younger, I remember when we were teenagers, and some unfortunate teenagers, stubborn, they will curse, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, the name of Allah, His attributes or His essence, Allahu Akbar. Now, to help those individuals, we told them, okay, you're saying those two words, add to it word in the middle. Without cursing, God forbid, the name of Allah, you curse the enemies of Allah. And it worked. So yes, I can say that Allah knows that it's a habit. They didn't mean it. Make sense? صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل. Subhanallah, it's said, the story said that 4 kings once gathered and spoke. The Caesar said, I'm more capable of correcting what I did not say than correcting what I have said. The king of Persia said, I regret what I did not say once, but I regret what I said repeatedly. I don't know if you heard that. When I was young, I used to hear it a lot, that Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I wish I have the neck of the giraffe so I can think about the word 10 times before it comes out from my mouth. I don't know if Imam Ali actually said that, but I used to hear that a lot, which helped me. Really, we have to think about the word before it comes out. Now, the king of China said, I have not spoken a word that did not rule me. For when I speak it, it rules me. So the moment you say a word, it can control you now. So as long as the word inside your tongue, you control it. The moment it leaves your tongue, now it will become against you. Make sense? And the king of India said, I am amazed at one who speaks a word that, if elevated, does not elevate him. It does not benefit him. So say a word that will raise you high, not it will push you down. Imam Ali said, speak and then you will be known, right? So your actual identity, your essence, your honor will be judged based on the words comes out from your what? Your mouth. Subhanallah. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, whoever speaks excessively, his mistakes what? Increase. And whoever mistakes increase, his modesty decreases. And whoever's modesty decreases, his piety decreases. And whoever lacks piety, his heart dies. And whoever's heart dies, enters the fire. Equation. Right? Speak more mistakes. What? Less modesty, less piety, no piety, your heart will die. When your heart will die, eventually you'll go to the hell fire. And subhanallah, also Sadiq alayhi salam, he said one of the companions entered to Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, and there were some of the Shi'as with him. I heard him saying, O assembly of Shia, be an adornment for us and not a disgrace. Speak good to people and guard your tongues and refrain them from frivolity and ugly speech. So this is straight, direct advice from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam to the Shi'as of Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam. Now, I spoke about silence in the beginning, right? Imam Sadiq said, silence is an abundant treasure, an adornment of the patient and a covering for the ignorant. Very nice hadith, right? And also Abu Ja'far, who said, Abu Dhar used to say, O seeker of knowledge, indeed the tongue is the key to goodness and the key to evil. Seal your tongue as you seal your gold and your papers. Also it was reported that Qais ibn Sa'ida met, subhanAllah, one of the companions, how many flaws have you found in the son of Adam? He replied, there are too numerous to count. But I have found a quality that if a person uses it, it will cover all his flaws. What is this? He asked what it is. He replied, guarding the tongue. Now, to conclude, youth may curse and use profanity for a variety of reasons, including peer influence and social norms. Let us be honest, transparent with each other. Majority of us used wrong language because we used to hang out with the wrong guys, right? So my older friends, or my older sibling, or my older cousins, or someone that I considered them a role model, I heard them using wrong language. I thought that I will feel that I became now an older person or an independent adult, independent man when I start using that language. Majority of the teenagers think that it's cool to cuss. Why? Because all the superstars in basketball, in acting, singers, right? They all what? Celebrities in general, they all what? They all cuss and curse, and it sounds fun. Emotional expression. Cursing can be a way for youth to express strong emotions such as frustration, anger, excitement, or surprise. Identity formation. Adolescence is a time of identity exploration and experimentation. That's true. Some youth may use cursing as a way to assert independence, as we mentioned, and rebel against authority and establish a sense of identity separate from adults or mainstream culture. For attention seeking, some youth may use profanity as a mean of seeking attention or gaining a reaction from others. Cultural influences, right? This is also one of the main reasons why people might cuss. Youth are exposed to profanity and coarse language through various forms of media, including music, movies, television, and the internet in general. Lack of understanding of social consequences. Rasulullah, yesterday we mentioned a hadith that I wish that everyone can memorize. He said, before you do anything or you say anything, reflect on the consequences, right? The moment you reflect on the consequences of the cussing words, you will stop it, normally and naturally. So some youth may not fully grasp the social implications or consequences of using profanity. They may use curse words without considering how it may affect their relationships, reputation, or future opportunities. Now, I'm like trying to help in 2-3 divorce cases without exaggeration. The reason behind the divorce is cursing at home. Cursing at home. Lack of alternative vocabulary. I liked one of the English teachers in the school that I used to teach, and she said that one of the reasons why some teenagers or youth curse or cuss or say bad language is because they don't have like alternative words in their head to be used. Like if you're able to express your emotions without using bad language, you will say a statement without cussing words. Make sense? Normalization of profanity. Especially now, search on Google cussing in the United States, they will tell you as if it's part of the American culture now. Now, in every language, they made in the alphabets for each letter a cussing word. You can't now. If I say, for example, F word, no one will think that it's faith. Or B word, believer. No one will think that it might mean faith or believer. Why our mind is going to the bad word? Why? Because unfortunately it became normalized in our heads. Makes sense? I used to help the students in the school to change their perspective of all things just by mentioning those. And you can apply that for the Islamic terminology, right? Subhanallah. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I will conclude this hadith. I know you're tired mentally, physically, and we're all. So thank you for your patience and for attending every night. Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This, I think this hadith, after I read it personally when I was younger, I made sure that I will safeguard this tongue until I die. Until this tongue can't talk anymore. Please listen to this hadith from the Prophet and then apply it on your life and the people around you. The Prophet said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ حَرَّمَ الْجَنَّةِ حَرَّمَ الْجَنَّةِ على كل فحاش بذيء قليل الحياء لا يبالي ما قال ولا ما قيل له فإنك إن فتشته لم تجده إلا لغيا أو شرك شيطان فقيل له يا رسول الله وفي الناس شرك شيطان فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله أما تقرأ قول الله تعالى وشاركهم في الأموال والأولاد. It looked stronger in Arabic language, right? The Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, he said, Allah has forbidden paradise. So paradise became what? Forbidden, haram. For every vile and shameless person who lacks modesty and does not care about what he says or what is said to him. Can you explain to me why now teenagers, they will be joking in someone cussing other person's mother or father, right? They are joking. Or some sisters out there, if her, what is called, the prince lover on the white horse, if he starts cussing at her, she will not react in any way or form. She might say, oh, he loves me. How some sisters or brothers out there, they don't care about what is being said to them. We didn't learn from Imam Hassan never to humiliation. Wallah, I witness before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I testify that I had to do some counseling when it comes to marriage and bringing people together. There are some cases where he accused her with haram relations. He cuts at her. There is no bad word unless he hit her with it. But still she's with him. She's fine. Respect is the key for love, for passion, for respect, for care, for protection, for security. Respect. Allah has forbidden paradise for every vile and shameless person who lacks modesty and does not care about what he says or what is said to him. You have to care about how people talk about you, your reputation in the society. Some people, they are fine with them bringing social attention by people speaking ill about them, right? Some actors and some singers, some celebrities nowadays, they will create a false story, right? That yes, it might be something, God forbid, sexual or indecent or. They are fine with that as long as they are getting the attention. Rasulullah said, Rahim Allahu mri'in, God give mercy to an individual who tried to protect his reputation by stopping people from speaking ill about him. You have a social identity, social image that you have to protect and safeguard. So you have to care how people speaks about you. Then he said, and who lacks modesty, and for if you examine him or her, those individuals, you will find nothing in them except loudness or in partnership of the devil. They are in partnership of the devil. The Prophet Muhammad speaking. Then it was said, O Messenger of Allah, is there partnership with devils among people? He said, you didn't hear Allah saying in the Quran Kareem, and incite Satan, and incite them to share in wealth and children. So yes, Satan will share with us our wealth and our children and our daily practices and things that we say and do. So that's why be careful, dear brothers and sisters, about cussing. It's not a game. Let me go back. That anyone who developed the habits of always cussing and saying bad language, those individuals' paradise will be forbidden on them. Because you can't expect from these people except what? Those negative words. They are not productive, not positive, not beneficial. They are the opposite. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our tongues and purify our hearts in the month of Ramadan. Before we exit this month, I hope that all our youth and teenagers can really give up this bad habit. Because it's impossible for someone who's actually a believer to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he corrupted any of these organs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed us with. You know, in Dua Kumail, these two words, قَوِّ عَلَى خِدْمَتِكَ جَوَارِحِ. You heard these two words a lot in Dua Kumail. وَاشْدُدْ عَلَى الْعَزِيمَةِ جَوَانِحِ. Jawarih are the external organs. External organs are 7: eyes, ears, tongue, hand, legs, stomach, and the private. These 7 organs, they require discipline and guidance from Allah. In Dua Kumail every week, we ask Allah to strengthen my intellect and my willpower to control these organs and to use them to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, how I'm using my tongue to serve Allah? Am I reciting with it Quran, dua, spreading the truth, defending the oppressed, spreading facts about injustices in the world, right? Spreading knowledge, convincing people about the oneness of God and that Islam is the righteous and the true religion, and protecting the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. I'm using the tongue for these reasons? Or for that joking and wasting time and etc. of the things that we just mentioned? Allah yahfadhkum inshallah. May Allah protect you, guide us all, help us all to discipline that organ which is the tongue. Walhamdulillahi, again, Rabbil Alameen. Any questions? يا الله اللهم عجل وليك الفرج واجعلنا من خير أنصاره وأعوانه ومقوية سلطانه. Al-Fatiha for all the souls of the oppressed, the innocent, all the ones that we lost in our community, and for all our loved ones after salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.